So as of this recording, we're just a few days removed from my birthday, where I became a little bit more of a crazy old man that likes to play with toys. And you know what? You know what, guys? I'm old enough now that, hey, if this is what I enjoy, this is what I enjoy. It ain't gonna change, you know. A leopard don't change its spots. And I guess that means that it's time to take a look at least start to take a look at, the birthday haul. Now, I don't know when you guys are seeing this, but my birthday happened kind of around Mother's Day area of time, roughly. So this is definitely well removed from that by now. And where do we begin? Well, we're going to begin with a figure that I didn't think I was going to have. I didn't really plan to pick up. And when Starscream Girlfriend saw it, she thought that he looked so cool and, by her recollection, so accurate. Is he actually a good toy? Well, we're going to find out when we take a look at the Transformers Studio Series Deluxe Class Ratchet in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. I hope you're doing fantastic today. Tonight, whenever you're watching this, check me out everywhere. Have a look at Machinery Man, The Everything Factor. Of course, please like, comment, share, and undoubtedly subscribe. It is so important. It is such a huge help to me, and we have Ratchet. And like I said, I wasn't going to get this guy. I didn't even know if he was good or bad. I admit that I thought that he looked pretty cool, and I thought he looked pretty accurate, and I don't necessarily think that in the Studio Series line he's quite getting the love that he probably deserves. I have a version of Ratchet that fits my collection, so I wasn't really even sure what to do with this guy or where to use him. But now that I have him, now that I've fiddled with him, I think I do have a use for him. Not as Ratchet. No, he'll be an incarnation of another character. But more about that later. At the end of the day, I would say, at least fresh out of package, he really does look the part for movie Ratchet. And at least that is a good place to start. Let's see all the details with this guy when we take a closer look at him over at the table. And so the look at the birthday haul begins with the Studio Series Ratchet. Now, I didn't have any plans, and I've said this, I didn't have any plans to get this guy. I really didn't. But I do certainly, now that I have him, thank Starscream Girlfriend tremendously for him. What can I say? Like, I'm lucky to have someone in my life that, you know, not only indulges, but really kind of shares my interests. And I certainly try to share hers as well. I love her dearly for it, and I am glad to add this guy to my collection, even if I don't intend to use him as Ratchet. You know how this goes by now. We're going to look at the paint apps, the posability, playability, the transformation, and we're going to start off with the box itself. And it's your typical Studio Series box. This is number 4. You see the artwork wrapped around the side. You see artwork over here, and I'm going to say this, you know, a lot of people give the Age of Extinction film, like, you know, a hard time. And okay, it wasn't perfect, but when Ratchet was being tracked down by Lockdown at the beginning of the film, like, I felt bad for the guy. I really did. I had, I guess, become connected to Ratchet, and I felt bad for the dude. Here's the product shot on back, of course, and naturally we can open this up, take out the plastic clamshell, and throw that aside, and as with all of these, we can take out the display base. It's, again, a nice scene, and we can take Ratchet, or you can take your Ratchet, and place him in there just fine if you got the room for this. If it even matters to you, he does come with instructions. They're alright. These are actually pretty decent. You know, I've seen worse. I have seen worse. And he has this absolutely stunning piece. It has a 5mm peg. It can go on his arm. It can go stored in vehicle mode. I feel like in vehicle mode it was probably a like a satellite dish. I guess it's a reciprocating saw. I'm really not sure if it's supposed to be for melee or if it's like a doctor's instrument. I don't even want to think about what sort of doctoring needs to be done in order to use this, but it is colored gorgeously with silver. The detailing is stunning. I don't know, it almost looks like a really pointy silver flower, but obviously that's not what it's intended to be. And here we have the bot of the hour. He's a decent sized deluxe. Like I said, I don't intend to use him as Ratchet per se, because I just don't have a place for a movie Ratchet. It's just not the way my collection works, but I do have a plan for him. Nevertheless, here he is next to the Studio Series Deluxe Class Stinger, who is a small deluxe, but it's a great figure. I looked at him in full in episode 390. Here he is next to the guy I looked at in episode 402, and a guy that I gave several custom paint apps to, the really sort of astonishing Studio Series Leader Class Blackout, and that's sort of off screen. Let me just center that slightly. And naturally, he's a lot smaller than Blackout is. And I actually do have Blackout kind of bent at the knees a little bit there now. Taking him out of it. Here he is next to my custom Transformers Prime version of Ratchet. And he's bigger than this guy. Like, he's a good sized deluxe. I looked at this Ratchet in full back in episode 243. In fact, I looked at him compared to what he looks like stock with that weird beige skin tone color metal, I suppose. And I've used this Ratchet in Universal Collision Season 1 as well. And here he is, taking him out of it, alongside my version of Ratchet, the often complained about and imperfect Deluxe Class Classics Universe Ratchet, who I looked at a long time ago in episode 11. Whoa, what a jump back in time there. Now, that being said, if this, and for the record, I don't have a problem with this Universe Ratchet like most people do. I really don't mind them. I don't really like the alt mode that much, but I don't mind his robot mode. It looks very ratchety, but nevertheless, if this is my incarnation of Ratchet, then who is the Movieverse guy going to be? Well, he's going to be someone who does not have any representation in fiction, apparently. It's the guy that trained Ratchet. That's right, I'm going to use Studio Series Ratchet as my rendition, representation of Remedy. Remedy, the medic bot, whatever, that trained the Ratchet that we all know and love. Nevertheless, since we do have a Movieverse iteration of this character, and we know what he's supposed to look like and act like and everything else, how does this guy stack up as an official representation? Well, we have the paint apps. Now, they're not absolutely perfect. I do wish we had a little more detailing on the forearms in here, and maybe a little bit more on the side. But there's no doubt that this is Ratchet, and the truth is, these pieces wrapped around his shoulder, I believe, are all black plastic, so all of that is paint. The lights everywhere on him, that's paint. The silver's all paint. There's actually a nice bit of paint on this guy. Room for improvement, yes, but there's no doubting at all that this is Ratchet. I'm going to say it's easily an 8.5. Easily an 8.5 for Movieverse Ratchet. I dig it for what it is. 8.5, not a bad start. What about the articulation? Well, in vehicle mode, he rolls fine, although in vehicle mode, it really would have been nice if the tires had the rims painted silver. See, again, this is why we don't have higher than 8.5. It's definitely Ratchet, but there was room to grow. Anyway, articulation, he rolls great in vehicle mode. What about in this mode? Well, it's all right, I guess. The head, it can go left and right. It's on a swivel, kind of like Power of the Prime Sludge. So it does not look up or down. The arms can go all the way around. We do have a little bit of a butterfly across the body. We have a bicep swivel, so it can get across his body no problem. We have an elbow, and then like kind of up by the bicep there's another hinge, so in essence he has a double hinged elbow, which I think is really cool. I dig that. Nothing at the wrist for this guy. Weird hands, like 3 fingers and 2 thumbs, really strange, kind of like those hand pieces for the Power of the Primes combiners. Really weird. I don't know, maybe it makes him way better at doing doctor things. Who knows? The shoulders, by rights, don't go out too far. Like, they only go out about that far. Now, you can unpeg the shoulder, and I'll show this now. The shoulder itself, there's a little gray peg in here, and in the black, there's a little rectangular slit that goes on over that gray peg. You can take that off and, you know, like kind of manipulate this shoulder pad and get some more movement on the shoulders. It's a bit of a cheat, and it's still certainly not perfect. They could have went out further with the shoulders, I think. That's a slight disappointment. The legs, they can go, actually before the legs, does he have a waist? No waist. The legs can go well forward. They can't, I guess, they can kind of go back, but we have this rather large, egregious backpack. Not even the whole backpack. Like, it'd be nice if this whole section could have moved up somehow, and if this piece could have folded. But this black piece is kind of such a thin piece of plastic that if we put a hinge in it, I really think that it would have compromised the integrity of it. I think we would be risking breakage, and that would be a shame. So this hanging down is a little bit of a nuisance. I kind of look at it as like the tails on like a doctor's coat. So it doesn't bother me as much as I thought it was going to, because I look at it, he's wearing his doctor's coat. Hey, if Crosshairs can have a jacket pieces flailing away, why can't Ratchet? We have a bit of a thigh swivel, but really it's because of the ball joint that goes into the thigh. It's not a dedicated swivel, but it's enough for what we need. We have a nice deep elbow. We have feet that can tilt back and not really forward. We do, however, have a little bit of like side to side wiggle, you know, so ever so slight of an ankle tilt, but it helps because it makes the guy solid when he stands. Absolutely solid. Totally dig that. Yeah, I mean, you can still get some dynamic poses with this guy, like even with his limits. You know, here's, let's see what we can do here. Like just something like, even just something like that, you know, it's not perfect, but you get the idea. If you wanted to fiddle with it more, I'm sure that you would be more skilled at getting something better than I am. Okay, so what about the score for that? Articulation, it's all right. I mean, you can do a lot of stuff. Again, there was room for improvement. I'm going to say it's about an 8. It's pretty good. I wish the shoulders went up a little bit more. A waist would have been nice, but I guess I sort of understand why they don't really have a waist. Even if you do have a waist there, like if that's something that I missed and somebody's yelling at the camera, although I don't think it is, it'd be hard to kind of move it with the whole backpack down here. You know, I mean, yeah, I don't think there's a waist. You know, it is what it is. It's all right, because I sort of don't expect huge action from Ratchet anyway. He's a doctor. 8. So we have an 8, we have an 8.5. 8.25 is what this guy's getting. Not perfect, but certainly not bad. Are there versions of this character that have panned out better? Like, we know we have Voyager class versions. We know we've had other deluxe class versions. Yeah, maybe there are. Maybe there are. I don't know. I really haven't spent much time with the Ratchet molds. I think the Voyager is noted as pretty good. I even think the earlier deluxe is noted as being pretty great. So yeah, there's room for improvement, but if you don't have an incarnation of Ratchet, I don't think this one's bad. not so far. Let's see how the transformation goes. And I think that that is where this guy sort of shines. For being involved, but not overly complex. And things, again, generally go together quite nicely. So this little piece right here, this little gray piece right here that I really wish did have a bit of extra paint on it. We bring that up first. And we tab it in. We can take off the back and open it out. And when we open it out, we have a little slot right here in the roof. And there's a little black rectangular peg on this roof rack piece. You bring that up and you snap it in. And then you bring that out. So the whole kind of top and back of the vehicle is right there. We can even untab the front of the body at this point, which does tab in rather securely. Here, we'll even open up these shoulder pad pieces. We untab the front of the body, and we, if you haven't done it already, turn the head around. And we'll just bring that up for now. Now, here's the interesting part. The head and the shoulders turn around. Like the head is kind of facing the windshield now. It will be down underneath the vehicle. As you start to turn it, the very front of the vehicle will also turn with it, or at least it does on mine. Like this, and you'll get to a point and you'll say, hey, that can't turn anymore. Do not force it. You may very well break it. The very front grille, like kind of hold onto it here, the very front grille rotates back. Then this can rotate a bit more, rotate that back, and this rotates around the rest of the way. And then you just sort of straighten all of that up. We'll leave the arms for now and all that good stuff. And we'll come to the back and do what we have to do back here. So we turn the feet around, and using this gray hinge in here, we're going to flip the foot in over, like that, and flip the foot up and in over, like that. We're going to close up the leg, and then the foot turns to the side. So we're going to, even over here, you could do it this way. You could turn the foot to the side, and then you could close up the leg. Whatever. I have not seen a way for the feet to tab together, but it doesn't matter because it's still secure in the end. We take this little tab on the leg and bring it out. And this little tab on the leg and bring it out. And you can see we're starting to get the stripe going up the side. Now we're going to put these legs up under this back piece. And really what you're doing is there's a little molded piece of green right here on either side. You're fitting the legs between this little molded piece of green. So even if they don't tab together, they fit in securely between that. And see if I can do it here. There and there. They fit in there so easily. I wanted to fit them in before I said so easily in case I had trouble with it. But they do fit in there very easily. So what about these flaps here on the side? Well, they just tab in. There's a little tab right there and a little rectangular slot right there. You just squeeze these in. And that's the back of the vehicle done. Everything compresses rather nicely. The front of the vehicle is done. We just need to do the sides. Get these things up to the side and deal with the arms. The arms, because of that kind of added elbow hinge, the arms just bend back behind. And same over here, just bends back behind. You bring the arms back and they slot into this slot, I guess, right here. And then we can position the front of this. So we bring down this gray shoulder hinge and you're sort of collapsing the shoulders in on the side. If you haven't done so already, you want to get, if you haven't done so already, turn the tire around. And now we're going to kind of, because there's a hinge here, we're going to kind of position it in behind the front grille and bring that all the way in. We're going to do the same thing on the other side over here, where we bring that arm down, we turn the tire around. If we haven't already, we position this behind the front, I don't know, grill piece, I guess. And for some reason this piece now does not want to cooperate with me. Get this in behind there, in behind right there, like that. And boom, in the end, there you have Ratchet in his vehicle mode. Maybe even give this a little squeeze right there. And you can even straighten this up ever so slightly on the front. I think it looks great. You have a port right there. You can take his melee weapon. Oh, I didn't show how it can go on his arm. By the way, there's a port here on his arm. So in robot mode, you could put it there on his arm. I guess you could leave it there in vehicle mode too if you wanted to, but that looks weird. Especially when you can just easily store it up here. And like I said, maybe it's supposed to be like a satellite dish or something up there in vehicle mode. But it looks pretty decent. It looks like Ratchet. I absolutely like it, except for two minor gripes. So what are my two very minor gripes here? One, this hinge right here, we don't have the red line continuing over it, I understand that, but this hinge right here, while I guess you can just say, hey, it's part of the ambulance look or something, it does sort of like break the illusion just a little bit. And two, up above the windshield, we still have black. If paint was put on the doors, it would have been nice if a little bit more was put just above the windshield to make it the same as the rest of the roof. This black plastic, I don't know, roll bar piece that's on the top, mine doesn't sit quite straight across. I could heat it up because it's kind of bendable, but just watch yours, especially taking it in a package, that you don't sort of bend it up like mine. The transformation is fun. It's easy. Honestly, I really enjoy it. I enjoy going back and forth with this guy because it's involved, but it doesn't take too long either way. That's a 10. I think his transformation is great. I love it. He was at 8.25. His transformation's a 10. It's excellent. Overall, the guy's a 9. It's a great Ratchet. Might not be the best Ratchet that we've gotten, but it's a solid entry in the Studio Series line. And for me to be able to say that about a movie figure, you know what? Color me absolutely impressed. And while I wasn't going to get him, boy, am I glad, as she has done in the past, that Starscream girlfriend thought wiser and picked him up. And of course, here we are back once again, and what can I say? I think the look of the guy is pretty accurate, even with these weird dual thumb hands and 3 fingers. I don't know, maybe that helps him be a better doctor. Maybe. As I stated, I'm going to use this guy as Remedy, the dude who trained Ratchet. It really sort of justifies a place in my collection for this guy. I think the look is really quite movie accurate. The articulation is, it's alright. It's, you know, it's okay. Not perfect. The shoulders, I wish, had been a little bit better. Now you can increase that range of motion a little bit if you move these panels somewhat. And you can score some dynamic poses with the guy. Perhaps the most egregious part of him is, of course, as stated, this backpack. It would even be less so if this black piece had been able to hinge up, but it is such thin plastic that I don't know if that would have really made it compromised and prone to breakage, and that would be extremely unfortunate. The conversion is definitely interesting. I dig it, man. It's not hard, but it's involved with a lot of moving pieces and interesting bits, and I like that sort of innovation. I think he's a win. Again, I've been saying it all along. I've traditionally always been hard on movie figures, especially during the Last Night line, but I like the Studio Series so far. No, they haven't all been perfect, but I think that they're pretty fun for what they are. This guy included. Anyway, let me know what you think about him. Do you think that, you know, he's a slam dunk? Do you think that they totally missed the mark? You know, I love to hear what you guys have to say about these guys. Again, I want to thank you for giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I'm going to say, please, again, subscribe if you haven't, because it makes all the difference in the world. And I very much look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit right here inside the videos.